The UFC has headed to the Apex for the first time this year, and we are going to make some money on it with some underdog picks and bets. Last weekend, we're going to do a recap of last weekend, and then we're going to get into the bets for this weekend. UFC Fight Night, Bautista versus Oliveira. It looks like a pretty solid card in the Apex. I'm very excited for it. We are going to be cashing some bets for it. Before we go ahead and get into the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get it started with the recap of last weekend's bets. So to recap last weekend, we did not do great. We had one underdog, and I'm always honest if we hit or we didn't hit. And we had Torres Finney at plus 130 with an absolutely comical performance, to say the least. This guy looked like a bum. He looked terrible. He looked horrible. He looked like he shouldn't be in the UFC. And I'm just going to keep it honest. And I bet on Torres Finney because when you bet on fights, you're betting on the odds. You're betting on what's the value. Where's the value? I mean, at plus money, there was value on Torres Finney as an undefeated, big, bulky middleweight with really high-level grappling, at least we thought, right? And I predicted him to go out there, get takedowns on Jacob Malkoun, who's had multiple surgeries, multiple injuries, and just really out cardio and out wrestle him. That's what I predicted. But Torres Finney went out there, absolutely shit the bed, looked like a punching bag, and he just got his face jabbed off for 15 minutes. He injured his knee as well. It was just an overall horrible performance. I didn't like Torres Finney though, so that's why I was kind of happy to see him lose, but we didn't hit on that bet. But if you want all my bets for this upcoming weekend, if you want all my bets for previous and for future events, comment, yap, and I'll message you my winnable link and stuff. But Finney, plus 130, I didn't put a lot on it, but it was kind of funny to see him lose. We're going to move on to this weekend, though, where we got some perfectly solid underdogs to pick from. There's a lot of underdogs, and I love when the UFC go to the Apex for one reason, and that reason is to make money, because there's opportunities with the fact that the octagon is smaller, with the fact that the crowd is obviously way smaller, so it's not as loud in there. Coaches can properly coach their fighters well, and it's very, very advantageous for certain fighters. And this weekend, I think we're going to be cashing easily. So the first underdog I'm picking and I'm betting on for UFC Fight Night, Bautista versus Oliveira, is going to be Bruna Brazil at plus 125. I don't often put WMMA fighters on these betting, these underdog bets and stuff, but Bruna Brazil at plus 125 is a bet that I was looking at, and I was looking into. It took me a while. I was looking at tape. I was like really going back and forth because she is fighting a tough opponent. A very bowling ball opponent who's got power in the hands, who's got really good grappling, but she's coming off 2 losses, and Bruna Brazil is coming off of a win. I think some of her wins are very credible. She's got some good wins. She beat Molly McCann. I mean, obviously, you know, Molly McCann ain't very good anymore, but she beat Molly McCann. She beat some other good girls, and she just beat that Asian prospect in China. She went all the way to China to keep her UFC career alive, and she did that very easily, winning through 3 rounds. I think she can do that here against her opponent. So I'm going to take Bruna Brazil at plus 125 as the first underdog, my less confident underdog, but one of my favorite underdogs on this card, because I do believe she's the much longer, more accurate striker between the two of them. Her opponent just loves winging big overhand rights, and as long as Bruna Brazil is able to circle out, circle in, circle out, and pop that jab, I think she can just light her up for 15 minutes. I think she can just jab her face off for 15 minutes. Not to mention, her opponent loves to just sit on bottom and just hold position and look and try and throw up a submission attempts, all sorts of things. She did that against Angela Hill. She did that against Piera Rodriguez, where she just got wet blanketed. And I think Bruna Brazil can do that to her opponent here. So give me Bruna Brazil at plus 125 as my first underdog pick and bet for UFC Fight Night, Bautista versus Oliveira. I also want to mention that I don't bet on every single fighter, every underdog that I do put on this. All the underdogs that I do bet on, you can go get on my winnable. I show all my bets there every single week for every single card, so you can go check that out. But we're going to move on to the next underdog bet and pick for UFC Fight Night Vegas 113, and it's going to be the man in the main event. Vinicius Oliveira at plus 135 is a line that I think you have to take. I truly believe you have to take it, because even though, and I'll say this, I picked Mario Batista to win this fight, but the more and the more I look at this fight and I look into the details in the tape study, I'm liking Vinicius Oliveira more and more, and also the bettors are liking Oliveira more and more. He used to be a plus 165. When the line opened, he was plus 165. That line is closing and closing and closing. I think it's going to become nearly even money come fight night, because I do believe that people are seeing that Vinicius Oliveira has 5-round experience. He did it over in UAE Warriors. He's got 5-round experience. He's got plenty of fights. He's got more mixed martial arts fights than Mario Batista, which is crazy. And Vinicius Oliveira has only lost 3 times in MMA, all by knockout. Mario Batista is not a knockout guy. He doesn't have big power in his hands. He dropped Umar Nurmagomedov, and that was literally his highlight of his entire career. That was it. And I like Mario Batista. I think he's the more technical, much cleaner striker between the two of them. But Oliveira brings a storm. I bring big storm. Like Yuri Prochazka, he brings a storm. He brings just crazy stuff. Like he's coming in there and he's just winging crazy shots. And usually, like these are completely opposite bets, because I just told you guys, Bruno Brazil, I want a clean, smooth striker there, but that's in WMMA. For MMA in a smaller octagon here, the men's MMA bantamweight, I want a crazy guy. I want Oliveira. I want a crazy guy who's going to go out there with 5-round cardio, and cardio is a main thing I look at. 5-round cardio from Vinicius Oliveira, who's going to just put a pace on Bautista from round 1. I truly believe that Vinicius is going to do that. I think this is a guy that has a very high ceiling in the UFC. I think he can crack that top 10 this year and maybe even crack that top 5 if he is active, and I think he can win this fight against Mario Batista. So he's going to be my favorite underdog bet and pick for UFC Vegas 113. Vinicius Oliveira plus 135. Let me know in the comments down below who your favorite underdog for this card is. But that's the entire video. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.